you very much. Hey, look, hopefully everyone can hear me. We have had a very exciting presentation there, so congratulations once again to all the ladies and those out in the audience. I would like to get the ball rolling. Obviously, we've got a lot of different topics to cover, including technology, culture, the role of women in the workplace, and obviously that becomes even more complicated when we put it in the context here of the Middle East. As Summer mentioned a little bit earlier on, Summer is half American and also half Saudi, has worked with international companies like IBM, currently with Honeywell as well, their Chief Innovations Officer. Summer, I'll ask you just to grab the microphone there, and I'd like you to just start off, if you can just talk me through then what your experience has been, being really part of that riding the crest of the wave that's been a female rising within Saudi Arabia, and how has the culture, how has the workplace changed within Saudi, and what ripple do you think that may have towards the wider region?
I think, can you guys hear me? Am I clear? I've spent a lot of time working in both the United States and working in Saudi. So I was with IBM before I was with Honeywell, and I became the first Saudi female to run an industry for IBM starting in 2012. Back then, when we looked at the numbers of females in the workforce, we were looking at 15%, within the private sector. Today, we're at 22%. So when I landed on the ground, it was a very interesting experience because I'd grown up in Jeddah and Yamdu Araba, and basically left Saudi for my, I would say, 6th grade to high school and university education, and came back to Saudi Arabia in a working capacity, which, as we probably all know here, that's unusual because most of the time, as Joy has said, I think we're all going to refer to Joy in all our discussions. The typical stereotype is most of the population, married at a young age, not very much within the workforce. There's a lot of segregation for particular industries, and I was very lucky because my industry is healthcare and education. So healthcare and education has been flourishing over the last couple of years. What we've seen, and what I've seen, just in the last 4 or 5 years, is a tremendous change of leveraging technology to actually find different workspaces. So women in Saudi are finding their own path, using and leveraging things like Instagram to create their own companies. Websites are coming up. They're really finding their own way. So, the Deputy Crown Prince by 2030 has said that, there will be a mission to get about 30% women in the workforce. And I think that those numbers are probably going to exceed that by 2030 because what we're seeing is that technology is opening up new doors, new avenues, and new pathways that we've never seen before to have women actually find their path and place within the market.
Thanks very much, Summer. Just to continue on with that, and just to create a little bit of a bridge here in what I hope to be a wider conversation, with that growing scene that you've been talking about, what exactly has been the role of technology, or how has technology hindered or perhaps amplified that?
So as I was mentioning, women are finding their own path, leveraging technologies that are existent for maybe different types of methodologies. So Instagram has been an avenue, and they are finding their way into the market. So they're creating their own small companies, they're going out there, and I think that, like I said, by 2030, there is a 30% kind of jurisdiction to say that women are going to have that share of the market space in terms of 30% of women in the market. But we'll see much more of that because, as we've heard before, 80% of the jobs out there will be very different than what we see today in the next couple of years. So I think technology is playing an immense role of giving women an opportunity in different avenues to find themselves.
Fantastic, thanks very much. I remember watching very excitedly as Khaled Al-Qadir held a special New York Times Facebook Live from the recent Employment Expo. I don't know if anybody else saw that on social media. Dr. Bhatia probably didn't, seeing as he adamantly said that he wasn't on social media. Thanks very much for that, Summer. Joy, our favourite person of the moment, if you could just pass the microphone now. Did everyone hear Joy before? Yeah. I think she's made her presence known. Fantastic. Joy, you have had a really interesting background, in particular Fetcher, which you are wearing very proudly there. I'm going to read this out just so I don't get it wrong. It raised a Series A from the New Enterprise Associates. It's the first time that a top-tier VC fund invested in the Middle East. Huge congratulations. Can I get a round of applause? Thank you. From that, though, you had obviously quite a few challenges coming from the Middle East and then pitching towards getting that money from San Francisco. Take me through that process. What were the challenges? And more importantly, because I want to remain positive, how did you overcome that?
I mean, honestly, just sheer determination. I mean, of all funding in all of Silicon Valley, only 2.7% go to women founders. So that's a difficult barrier in America, never mind here. So I'm really proud. I say that with humility. I'm really proud that I'm of that 2.7%. And I've actually raised 2 companies. I've raised millions of dollars for 2 companies. This is my second. I think there is a big turnaround now for women, and there's a focus on women. And I believe that I use it to my advantage because, I say this, when I go to pitch in venture capitalists, I've pitched, hundreds of venture capitalists with both my companies. I think when there's man dealing with another man, there's an ego play involved. And I feel like when I come in with my partner, who's a man, we sit down and we pitch, but they're a little softer with me. There's not an ego play. So I find being a woman a huge advantage in raising money. I don't look at it as a negative. When I negotiate, I'm the one who goes in to negotiate because between 2 men, there's an ego play. So I actually find it an advantage. I wish I could stand up here and say it's a disadvantage, but no, I think that the hint here is never let them see you coming, right? Their guard is down, and I'm dealing mostly with men. I don't think I've ever. It's been difficult for me coming from the United States. I have a lot of people coming in from Saudi. I'm here to see the owner, and I'm like, well, that's me. And after I get them a cup of coffee, I sit down, and they think I'm the lady serving them, and then I go, no, I'm the founder. It's difficult coming from the United States. They won't shake my hand, but they want to give me money. That's been something that's been hard for me to overcome, but it's culture, so I've accepted it and I've respected it. But there's definitely a difference, but I use being a woman as an advantage here, for sure.
Absolutely. And if there are any other entrepreneurs or perhaps business people within the audience, you talk about asking for money and they won't shake your hand. What are perhaps a few of the tips that you've had after your success that you've had in various rounds that you can offer to the audience about standing up and asking for what you want? Because I don't think, as females, but I know this also affects males, it's something that we often find hard to do.
Oh no, I tell everybody who's an entrepreneur that if you don't have thick skin, go home. You have to have thick skin, and you got to have the door slammed in your face every single day, and it's got to affect you 0. It doesn't affect me. I mean, people tell me no every single day. I don't even hear it. I'm like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. It doesn't mean anything. I think to be an entrepreneur and to be a woman entrepreneur means that you got to have doubly thick skin to not let rejection affect you deeply. And I think that's a DNA. You either have that personality or you don't have that personality. It's not something that can be learned. And I think that's what makes someone an entrepreneur or not. It's not having shame or fear of rejection. Really, that's the key. And being relentless. I mean, just pure relentless. Really.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Joy.
Thanks.
I'm going to move on just back to the other side of the panel to this female here. We have, I believe it is Muna Al-Azhar. Yes. Thank you very much I apologize for the pronunciation. I wanted to focus on one of the points that we did have within the agenda was looking at the challenges that perhaps the elder generation face with the younger generation coming through and that use of technology, which obviously is something that Fetcher grounds itself on, something that Summer touched on there. Can you take me through perhaps what you think are the challenges maybe faced by both the elder generation and also the younger generation coming through?
Thank you for the question. I'm a business owner and a mother, and although some people they start calling me an entrepreneur, I never thought about myself like that. I think we are all entrepreneurs one way or another, all of our life, as mothers, as working, wherever. But going back to your question, yes, I do think. I think because most of entrepreneur women who are above the age of 50 and more, they've been in service in this life for more, not less than 25 years. So, whereas now some people, even within my company, they look at me sometimes and think, this is like old school. And I just recently started hearing this term. Now, here's the thing. Yes, there are a gap. Now we are in a new world, okay? When I started my career 30 years ago, as not even a business, I was not in the business, but we didn't have this, the whole impact of technology. We didn't have the social media around, okay? And we wasn't even introduced to the internet until 25 years ago. So it's a new world now. Yes, there are so many young people who have best education and they are so ambitious to use their knowledge and generate a profit, but in the same time, you cannot you cannot disregard the experience you gained through time. So I think the problem here is that there are tools that the young generation do not realize now, because I have some people working with me, they're fresh grad from breast colleges, but they have a problem. They come to me, they say, okay, we have a fantastic idea, okay? Now to me, the way I see it, I'm the old school, okay, to them, unless you know how you can put this idea into action, unless you know how you can sell this idea, even if it was just, okay, I want to do rocket science, but let's know how to do it, how to put it on strategy in writing. So the minute when someone comes up to me with an idea, I said, okay, fine, put it in writing, make a proposal, come with a presentation, okay? I just don't want to hear ideas, because as a business owner, I hear a lot of ideas every day. But here's the balance. This is why they call me an old school, because we have the wisdom which we gained through time, okay, which a lot of fresh graduates, they don't realize. And the problem here, they don't feel, oh, we don't need that. Wisdom is needed. Experience is needed all the time. Yes, you need education, you need the knowledge, but you need it. And I think now we have a problem because most of real business owners, they are not at the age 25. There are some exceptions, yes, but most of them, even within the women entrepreneurs, they are above 35. Then, so how many years she's been in service? 20 years? Okay, that's a good experience. And then she has to deal with workers who've been, yes, graduate from best colleges, but they're so pushy. They can't wait until to develop themselves. So I think we have a problem now between the young generation and I'm not saying the old one, but that's what they named us as an older school. We have to look at that, and let's bear in mind that now the women, as I agree with the ladies, they are the real power in this society. In the GCC, the women also, whether she's a local or an expat, she is a power within this society now. And most of businesswomen who are entrepreneurs, they are real power because they employ so many women. So I think there is a difference between women entrepreneurs and male entrepreneurs. There's a different conception and the different in the way they deal. Yes, the women can benefit from that. So I think, yes, there are so many challenges in this region, in the GCC, and I'm saying that because I'm a Kuwaiti as well. So I completely understand. Luckily, I think there has been some improvement. I just want to add one thing. One thing that I hear it all the time, even from my college boys, and that we don't want the young generation to become a better version. We want them to be new version, to be different, not better than what we do. And I think there's more challenge to do in this field by most business owner, whether a male or a female.